How's everybody doing this fine day? I just wanted to know, can you hear me? Because that was weird. It was very, 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 very weird. Janet, you're here. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hear you. Good, good, good. Can you hear this? Could you hear that? Can you hear the video when I play it? Yes. Oh, fuck. Good. Okay. I figured out what was wrong. All right. Here we go. This is excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody, for bearing with me. Using the wife's computer because it's working better for this. So here's the video. Right now, we're about to talk about Beatrice Caruso's weight loss journey, and she did a Q&A about keto at the very end. I have not watched this whole video. I can say this, though. Beatrice should be proud of herself. She is obviously making very serious strides. It looks to me like she is actually producing results for herself. They may be slower, but oftentimes slow results do end up in permanent results. So she is absolutely losing weight. I would argue that in some of these shots, her waist to height ratio looks pretty close to being in a healthy range, if not at a healthy range. Or she's definitely below 0.6 in what a lot of these shots look like. Now, she does carry a lot of weight in her lower body, her thighs and stuff like that. But if you look at her waist right under her rib cage, I do think that is pretty close to being under 0.6, if not under. So we are just going to go through this. I am going to try to give her advice. Beatrice, if you're watching, I know you're not a fan, but I do know you happen to watch just about any time somebody makes a video about you. Please understand that I am trying to make sure that this is helpful for you and for your audience and for just about everybody else. So please do understand that. And let's do this.
And it is very gelatinous. Let's make some breakfast. And for once, there is nary an egg in sight. I will pause while the shock and awe fill the room. It's very rare for me, although that's a
So if you take a look at it, her waist, which again, that is like one of the things we measure the most at our coaching is we do waist to height ratio way more than we do BMI. I'm going to argue, since she's a decently tall girl too, that she's in there. That's pretty good progress, if you ask me. Her face looks thinner, that sort of thing. She looks vastly less puffy in her arms, her fingers. You can look at her hands and see that you can see the tendons in her hands. That's a big thing. So I'm arguing that she has done a good job. You know, I have not been keeping up with much of this. And I'm interested to see this, you know?
little bit of a lie because alongside breakfast, I'm probably going to be doing a side quest of deviled eggs. But that's more of like a little snack situation later rather than like the main event. So I digress. It doesn't matter. I came across a keto oatmeal recipe and colored me intrigued. We have to try this. So that's what we're going to be getting into this
Keto oatmeal sounds a little off to me, actually. So let's
morning.
figure
The
it out.
recipe is very simple, very straightforward. All you do is throw all your ingredients in a pot, you thicken, and you serve. And those ingredients are as followed. 1/4 cup of hemp hearts, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of ground flax, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of swerve sweetener.
Making how-to videos
Okay.
used to take.
By the way, I'm not going to be able to not do the videos or not do the ads for right now, because that was one of the problems, was the ad blocker. YouTube must have done something recently.
Vanilla extract, pinch of salt, 3/4 of a cup of water, 1, 2, 3. And now we begin the thickening. I'm really hoping that this turns out good because I'm always looking for ways to.
So the keto, the oatmeal's no oatmeal. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with that necessarily. But it's just not. It's not an actual real thing. You know what I mean? Like that's not how that stuff works, really. It's fine. I mean, like, call it whatever the fuck you want, but it is what it is.
To cover my bases and to help plug any nutrient gaps in my diet. It's a clinically backed, clean, high-quality multivitamin for women ages 18 to 49. Where their key ingredients come from and why they're there is not really well regulated. However, their delayed release capsules are designed to be gentle on the stomach on screen, or click that link in my description. Consistency.
That's That was her ad. I'm not trying to avoid it, but they don't pay me, and I'm worried that they would argue that they don't want me. So I just skipped over it. So please go back and check her video for it if you want. And again, that's not oatmeal. I mean, because it's not oats, but it is a good keto option. I will say that that's super high in fiber. Like the hemp hearts plus the chia are going to be super, super high in fiber. I would argue if you're going to already do stuff like that, especially because you're using a fake sweetener. Instead of the fake sweetener, I'd probably put some sort of flavored protein powder in it myself. I've been staying away from even protein powder as much as humanly possible, just because I want to put in as few possible artificial ingredients in my food as I can nowadays.
All right, let's taste test it. It is very gelatinous.
That's from the
If you
chia.
have a texture issue, I can foresee you having a problem with this. But other than that, it's quite nice. I don't know, I'd definitely make this again. It's a good way to switch up the monotony of eggs. Do you want something out here? Do a more?
So again, like you can see, I would argue you could go back and when she was first started, you could look at her hands in different. Now she still is heavy. She still, even if with a healthy waist to height ratio, if you're an adult female woman, unless you're adult female woman, female woman, same thing. But if you're over 200 pounds and you're under like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", you really, really, really should back the weight back just for long-term, joint wear and tear. Even if you have a healthy waist to height ratio, you should do whatever you can to get down lower. So I'm going to classify that. I still think she has weight to lose. I wouldn't want anybody to think that I was being, I don't know, like I was being conflictory with what I've said before. She still obviously needs to lose weight. I would just argue that she is not in a dangerous zone right now and can take her time figuring the rest of it out, because that is what's worked for her. But that is one of the things I think I had the hardest time with her when she first started, and all the other ones. They really didn't set themselves up for long-term success. They set themselves up to lose weight quickly. The weight loss is just a side product of having a healthy lifestyle. And it appears she has a pretty healthy lifestyle. I would argue, though, you got to be careful looking after the extra treats to have, like making a healthy treat, because healthy treats are still treats. And eventually that shit's not going to be flax and chia seeds. So you just got to be careful. You got everything in moderation. And you got to view ultra processed foods as not foods. That's one of the biggest benefits of keto, frankly, if you ask me. Except they do have a lot of keto garbage products now. Okay.
It's kind of a dreary gray-ass day today, and it's kind of getting me down, to be honest. So I'm going to force spring to happen and go pick up Elmo, and we're going to see what Home Depot has to offer in the garden department, because Lowe's is letting me down, not putting out their stuff lickety-split, and I might buy a tree. I've got it in my head that I need to plant a tree.
Yeah, fucking Rural King's the same way. Rural King's fucking horrible lately. Horrible.
It's not a bad idea. Certainly not the worst idea I've ever had. Say hello, Edwin.
Hello.
It's really cold out here. I'm thinking about getting this crabapple tree. But first we gotta get other plants and then come back for the big one. Yeah, that one's nice. This one is 35 to 40 feet though, and this one's smaller. I think I'd get this one.
That's what I have in the front yard.
Yeah, I like that one. It's so cold.
I don't really care about this stuff.
But it worked, because as soon as I purchased it, the sun came out. Did you notice that? Hawk. I was okay, I'm gonna be out here with you. Everyone's gonna be safe. Also, side note, a goal of mine this season is to befriend some crows, because crows will keep the hawks away from your flock of chickens. Plus, they bring you little shiny objects, and I want that for me. Anyway.
She looks way healthier. Like way, way, way healthier than she has before.
First thing we're gonna do is unbatten down the hatches on the chicken coops, get the ladies some airflow ready for spring, and I'm gonna clean out the chicken coop, and then we will move on to planting that tree that I bought. And
you don't know what an AI work manager?
We're gonna look for her Q&A on keto. That's really the thing I'm interested in.
Other yard work. Put the light in so it isn't any money, and these also do seem to be a bit higher quality than like regular.
By the way, if you are looking to homestead and stuff like that, please feel free to go back and watch her video, because she does give pretty good tips on that shit. So
their grocery store eggs. At least the yolks from our chickens are vlog, which I'm happy to report is no longer an issue, but that was annoying. There has just been a learning curve to this whole endeavor. So just an FYI, if you're considering getting chickens because they're cute, they are indeed cute. That is your FOMO. I'd also like to plant a lot of fruit trees, but I need to tamper that down. And they gave me the soggiest lettuce wrap known to man. It still slapped a today activity. Also, cooking dinner wasn't on the agenda for today either, so we popped over to Jimmy John's and they gave me the soggiest lettuce wrap known to man. It still slapped
The lettuce wrap is like very good choice. That is something I get when we travel. And it's something I suggest to all of our audience too. Like, if you are stuck traveling, Jimmy John serves what's called an unwich. So it's just a sandwich and lettuce. Instead, it's a very good option, very good choice, and oftentimes just as satiating, if not more satisfying. Like, I love getting their Italian wrap in that because it has that crunch that I think is missing from a sandwich like that. So, great choice.
So, I mean, despite its moisture. After my latest keto video, some of you had questions that I didn't address in that video, so I'm going to take a portion of this one to address said questions. And I wrote them down on the back of this State of Colorado Department of Revenue return envelope. So I guess we'll just go through them. So first and foremost, some of you wanted to know if I was participating in the Verta program. This is likely because you saw on my glucose and ketone meter the Verta logo. And technically, I am participating in it. And if you're wondering what the Verta program is, same. Because I'm like, not really participating in it. So basically, because I am doing keto and I monitor whether or not I'm in ketosis, that requires me to have a meter and purchase test strips every so often, which is a little bit pricey. And lo and behold, one day a flyer comes in the mail about the Verta program because apparently our insurance covers it for free. So my ass, having already started keto, realizes that they're going to send me all of this stuff for free to check my like ketone and blood glucose levels and stuff. They give me access to a coach that I don't utilize. That chat has been laying dead. Apologies to DJ.
Don't apologize. I mean, here's my thoughts process about this. Keep your fucking insurance company out of your diet. That's what you should absolutely do. Keep your fucking insurance company out of your diet. But I can tell you, keto works for a lot of people. A lot of people. I eat very keto-ish. I add rice and potato fairly often now, just because I've gotten to the point where that stuff doesn't make me overeat. Where if I ate rice in the morning before, I would definitely overeat through the course of the day. But I'm not doing that anymore, which is fucking fabulous for me. But I think that's a positive thing. All the test strips and shit like that is overcomplication. So Beatrice, I do warn you about that. You seem to be doing just fucking fine without the test strips and shit like that. So my argument by that stuff, it's the same thing as like, I think it's Noom or whichever one you blow into and it tells you to adjust whatever by your breath and stuff like that. That's an overcomplication. I got into like this little thing on Instagram recently with this fat fuck of a coach who, by the way, if they have a waist to height ratio over 0.6, you should not take weight loss advice from them. I just have that thing. And I think Beatrice is under 0.6, so she can give whatever advice counter to this she wants. Beatrice has lost weight, and therefore I consider her, I'm not saying that her way is the best way, but I can honestly say I don't think she says her way is the best way. It's her way is what's working for her. And that's what each of you need to find too. That's one of the reasons why we developed the app, is because the app helps people build healthier habits. Hydration, sleep, stress relief. Again, you can check this out. Here are the links to it. Lumen, I think, does the breath. Yeah, it's Lumen. Noom, I'm still not big on any of those. And here's why, right? Just found out my waist to height ratio is 0.53. You're almost there. I would be very happy if I was you, but I would stop worrying once it's down under 0.5. Especially for a female, you get it under 0.5. But great job. So, but I think the random overcomplication of stuff is a hard thing. You got to watch out for it because, especially if it deals with like daily dietary adjustments, habits are what's important. Like how you do consistently over the course of time is what is going to determine your weight, and very realistically, that's one of the reasons why if you just focus on being mindful about your food, that's why the intuitive eating shit is just ridiculous. If I intuitively ate, it would be a 12-pack of beer and fucking pizza every day, like intuitive eating for people with problems with food, with binging disorder especially, intuitively is very bad. Like if you give yourself permission to just keep eating, you're going to fucking keep eating. and that's not a great scenario to be in. But consistency is what matters. Like consistency and keeping away from ultra processed foods as much as humanly possible. If you can keep away from ultra processed foods, that's one of the reasons why on the Hunger Free and Happy app, we made it so that the first time a food is ever put in there by any user, it picks out the item. If it's never been done in there before, we have an AI figure out the exact ultra processing percentage of it, and then it is known. That way you know how much you're doing it. We've had people reduce their ultra processed food intake from 40, 50% down to like less than 10, and they feel much better. And that's one of the key things. It will help reduce your inflammation immediately. Like the most bang for your buck things when you are trying to lose weight. And I know this sounds very simplistic, but just take 2 weeks. Try to get an ounce of fluid per pound of your ideal body weight. So if you weigh 300 pounds, that's not what you should get. Those ounces will crush you. You will be in the bathroom all the time, and your kidneys are only so fucking big. But you should try to get somewhere, probably if you're a male, somewhere around 160 to 170 ounces of fluid a day if you're an average height male. And if you're an average height female, somewhere around a gallon of water a day, somewhere in there. Right. So focus on getting that. Try to get 75% of that before your midday. That way you're not getting up and going to the bathroom all the time. And then do whatever you can to stay away from ultra processed foods. Keep your ultra processed foods down to such a minimum that it would make up about 10% or less of your total daily caloric intake. You do not need ultra processed foods. For profits, their companies need you, but you do not need ultra processed foods. If you can't go 2 weeks without ultra processed foods, you have to take a look at yourself and be like, is this from my lifestyle habits? Is this just because I am too dependent upon convenience that I need to depend on food-like products because it's not even really food? Or is that shit calling to you? Is it like, you all of a sudden realize, wow, I'm addicted to this shit. And a lot of you will realize that your problem is that you are not bad at willpower, that you are not bad at making good decisions. A lot of you will realize that you are addicted to ultra processed foods. There is an actual physical addiction. And anybody, again, one more time, any of you creators out there that are trying to pretend that people cannot be addicted to ultra processed foods, especially anything with processed sugar in it, I would love to humiliate you any fucking time you feel up for it. Like, to think that you cannot be addicted to something that is actually engineered to hit your dopamine receptors in the same way that drugs do, you've got to be fucking stupid, or you're an addict that's just in denial yourself. So it's one or the other. But that's my advice to everybody when you're starting out. Again, Hunger Free and Happy app soon to be on the Google Play Store. You can get that right now just by filling out. You can get coaching right now by filling out either of these, and we will happily sign you up for coaching right fucking now. So
they sent me a body weight scale. They sent me a food scale. They sent me that keto meter with the Verta logo on it that you guys saw. They sent me the test strips, alcohol pads, Lancets.
That is way overcomplication. That's gonna be my biggest thing for you, Beatrice. That's gonna be that's way overcomplicated. Way overcomplicated. That is not a sustainable lifestyle, if you ask me. So please be careful. You're doing good.
And then they send me those again periodically every time I run out, which is nice. So I don't have to pay to get those supplies, which is why I'm a participant in the program. And why I don't participate more in the program is because I had already started my own thing, my own keto regimen before I even knew that.
You should stay with your own thing. Like, you don't need to, weighing out every scrap of food gets to be unsustainable, because when people weigh out, yes, it will be in about a month or so. But weighing out every scrap of food gets to be unsustainable, one. And two, very realistically, when you go out to dinner, I hope you don't take your scale. I certainly fucking hope you don't take your scale when you go out to dinner. If you want to use a scale for a while, just to make sure your portion sizes are what you think they are, which is always actually a good thing, I would suggest that the scale be used temporarily. And what you do is you try to figure out how much it weighs, and then you weigh it and see how far away you are. You want to teach yourself how to kind of be your own scale. So that is my best piece of advice for that.
They existed, and I was already like on my grind, doing my own thing in the groove, if you will.
Yes.
So I didn't want to like switch it up. And the program is technically still keto. They just do things a little bit differently. Like I think they track total carbs instead of net carbs. And it was kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And
if it's not broke, do not fix it. That is a way over, like, you should stick with that, Beatrice, because that's a way over complication of what you're doing. Very, very, very very way overcomplicated.
Just basically use them to get supplies. So TLDR, yes and no to me participating in the Verb program. Someone also wanted to know if I had any sweet treats during that month. And I kind of just like glossed over the food because like during my weekly vlogs, they're rather food focused on kind of like full days of eating and just recipes that I have throughout the week. So I didn't want to spend too much time in the keto video making it way too long. So I just kind of like glossed over and showed like some of the meals that I had. But I didn't really have that many sweet treats. I was avoiding sugar alternatives. So that was kind of like the main reason that I didn't really have that many sweet treats. I did.
So avoiding sugar alternatives is also a very smart thing to do. I have this thing about sweets. If you're going to taste something sweet, it should be towards the end of the day. If you have problems with food, like my wife can eat something sweet in the morning. I can't even eat sweet potato in the morning. I will be craving food all day long. So if you are going to have something sweet, have it later on the evening. Try to find things that you want to try to reprogram your brain to think that some savory treats are still treats, right? Like we have a lot of people, especially have a few type 1 diabetics, and anybody we're trying to help with type 2 diabetes, get them off of their medications and reverse their type 2 diabetes. Even though your doctor says you can't reverse it, by the way, type 2 diabetes is almost in every case reversible. And I mean, I'm talking reversible down to not being insulin resistant at all. And again, if you don't believe that, I'd love to debate you on the actual fucking data, because the data is actually there. Your doctors just don't want to fucking tell you because they make money from you by being on those medications. But we have them very much look forward to, like, start changing your mindset to think like, so instead of a Snickers bar being a treat, maybe some peanuts being a treat, or, a very, very, very high good steak. Instead of getting a pizza once a week or some pasta once a week, think about getting a really good high-end steak and a really seasoned well steak or something like that. If you can change your mindset about some of these foods, especially foods that aren't really foods, that are just food-like products, which is a huge cause of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is prevalent in America the way it is right now is because we eat like garbage. We eat foods that are not food. We eat basically ultra-processed treats as if they're actual food, all the way including our bread and stuff like that. So just to keep in mind. But I would argue everybody should try to stay away from the ultra-processed food as much as you can, which is also including artificial sweeteners. If you are going to use an artificial sweetener, just as she did at the very beginning, I would have added a little bit more protein. So instead of using an artificial sweetener, I would have added some protein powder to it. However, there are a few sweeteners that do come from nature, like stevia is from nature, but you got to look for how processed it is, anything that's added to it, that sort of thing. So you just got to watch out.
However, get really into blueberries and strawberries. And the funny thing about like not having
when we've had people try to stay away from ultra processed foods or stay away from sugar, especially like people come with just straight sugar addiction, like I'm talking 4 liters of soda in a day, full leaded. All of a sudden it becomes pineapple and banana, everything. Blueberries and strawberries, not as much. So I think you're farther down the road, which is awesome, Beatrice. But blueberries and strawberries are very different, like lower, like actual sugar content than pineapple and banana. A very ripe banana has an actual very high natural sugar content. It's still natural. It's not ultra processed, but it can still trigger a lot of things. I have this thing. If it's going to trigger a blood sugar response in a diabetic to the point where they might need insulin, maybe you should avoid it too, to never need insulin, or reduce the quantity, the timing, that sort of thing.
Having sugar for a while is, after a while, your taste buds really recognize when there's sugar in something. And the blueberries tasted amazing. Same with the strawberries. I was even tasting sugar in things like celery. I was like, does this taste sweet to you?
Yes. Once you stay away from it for a while, even minorly sweet things become very, very, very sweet.
And Steven's like, you're crazy. And it was just because I wasn't having sugar. It almost made my taste buds more sharp, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So,
absolutely.
Like the foods that I was having, that might have been boring in comparison to like having something with a sugar alternative in it, was just much more flavorful. But that being said, as you can tell by the beginning of this video with the keto oatmeal recipe, which had swerve in it, I am letting myself have sugar alternatives more often now. I just don't really want to rely on them as much as I was previously, where I was like,
yeah, like that's another thing we do in the app. We have an indulgence planner where if you're going to indulge, you plan it out days ahead of time. And then it'll give you a reminder 12 hours beforehand, like, hey, remember your plan. Then a couple hours beforehand, reminding you to enjoy the indulgence. Their indulgence is for a reason. This can be used for dates, holidays, those sorts of things, and I think it's rather important for people to still be able to do these things, to still be able to occasionally indulge. As I said at the very beginning of this video, it is not what you do on the holiday. It's what you do in the days between the holidays. So you should let yourself have something like that, especially if you're craving. The biggest thing to watch for, and my suggestion to everybody, if you're going to have an indulgence, like she started her day off with the flavor of sweet, I bet you if I asked her, she would say that she was a little hungrier that day than the rest of the days. But if you're going to have something sweet earlier in the day, make sure your next meal is all protein, all fat. And probably the meal after that too, if you eat 3 times a day, which you don't need to. Most people don't need to eat 3 times a day. But if you are going to have it in the evening, I would suggest that throughout the course of the day, you get all of your hydration in, which is actually asked for you when you're planning the indulgence on the app. It actually asks you what your plan is for hydration beforehand and for the food beforehand. I would suggest something all protein and fat, steak and eggs, something like that, pork, chicken thigh especially. And then it'll tell you to enjoy it. Enjoy the time out. Like try to eat things in portion, but enjoy the food if it's going to be about food. If it's going to be about pizza, enjoy the pizza. If it's going to be about cake, enjoy the cake. Make sure you try to stick to portion. And then the next day, make sure you have a recovery plan. Like your next meal after any type of indulgence should be all protein and fat to help quell away any type of cravings you might have to make sure you're very, very satiated. Now, I'm not going to say that this is not going to still have you have cravings, but it will satiate you very, very well. If you have a good portion of like all protein and healthy fats, it'll satiate you. And even though you might have a craving, it won't be as damaging to you if you would be constantly having the craving because you'll already be satiated and full. And you get to tell yourself that. Make sure you're hydrating really well too.
I need my fix. I need my Pepsi Zero. You just want to kind of like limit it to like not an everyday kind of thing.
Yeah, good for you.
This next one isn't really a question.
No. To Beatrice's audience, that's not just her. That's everybody. And the data completely backs it up. The more you have very sweet flavored things, the more your dopamine receptors look for it. Because even though it might be an artificial sweetener, your dopamine receptors still like, hey, that is sweet. We like that shit. And then it continues the hunger cycle because a lot of this is about controlling your hunger. We literally have a book called The Hunger Management Method. A lot of it, in order to live hunger-free and happy, you need to be hunger-free. So if you keep eating stuff like that tastes sweet, that might make you a little hungry or might give you cravings for sweet things and everything like that, that is going to perpetuate you overeating. And again, to Beatrice's audience and Beatrice, it's not just you. That's a very good thing. You want to stay away from things that taste very sweet.
Statement. It says, doesn't sound good for vegetarian, referring to keto. And it's kind of funny because apparently you can even be vegan on the keto diet. When people think about keto, they typically think about like the dirty keto diet, cheeseburgers without the bun, just like bacon and jalapeno poppers and just really greasy, constant red meat and all of this stuff. And apparently there are a million ways to do the keto diet. The diet in itself is just referring to changing the balances within the macros, like increasing the fats, lowering the carbs, which I don't know how you do that when you're a vegan, but I saw it multiple times when I was researching. I think I did read the vegan thing in the book Brain Energy by Dr. Chris Palmer. I could be mistaken. I could have heard about it on like the Metabolic Mind channel. You'd have to look that one up, but I've heard that it's possible. Again, don't know how, but I just thought that was like an interesting snippet to include. This next one, are you?
So hang on. We have had some people that have been on like the vegan keto or vegetarian keto. A lot of it plays into which type of keto you like to do. Like if you do where she's at, where you use net carbs instead of whole carbs, it ends up being a lot of beans, just to be honest, and tofu and those sorts of things. I just find it to be very hard on the fats, and it's very, very easy to fall into the ultra-processed trap when you are vegan or vegetarian keto, because they'll make a lot of vegan, vegetarian keto items, but they are ultra processed, and anything that's ultra processed, you got to be very, very, very leery of. So you do it? Yes. If you do it because, of religious exemption or something like that, I hear you. But I will argue that anybody that, and again, no offense to vegans, if you're offended, too fucking bad, really. But that's not how we evolved to eat. We evolved eating meat. That's what grew our brain size. And just, we are hardwired to eat meats as well. I would argue that we were more designed to be in a ketogenic state than, heavy on carbs, because our brain runs really, really, really well on ketones. You tend to have a better hyperfocus. You tend to have more mental awareness, but also it is definitely a very positive thing for the other aspects of your life too. When it comes to your skin, mental health, which I believe she's about to talk about here.
Using Mounjaro? And if not, what do you think helped you succeed this time? I get asked a lot if I am using Ozempic or Mounjaro or any of those other GLP-1s. I did a whole video on this topic in the past because at the time I was considering it maybe. I wanted to deep dive into some research and
so I'm just going to let everybody know, and I'm going to do a future video on this. If you were using a GLP-1 and it's helping you, I am not trying to knock you. I'm really, really, really not. I'm not a fan of those drugs just because for multiple reasons. One, if you have been on Mounjaro for 5 years, or if you have been on semaglutide for 5 years, you're the test group. Like, there's no long-term testing on this stuff at all. And you know what has long-term testing? Beef. It's good for you. Eggs. They're good for you. Like, my issue with the drugs is more how the drugs are being presented to the public, because realistically, it's not something that we know a whole lot about, right? If you're using them and you're succeeding with them, great. We help a lot of people, a lot of people that are using the drugs. They are absolutely. We have people on the app that are using these drugs, and I do see for some people decent results. They still have yet to outpace a lot of people that are just really get into the lifestyle change, and they oftentimes regain, because again, this is about controlling your hunger. And if it does it for you chemically without you trying to change your habits to get away from ultra processed foods and processed sugar, when you stop taking it, all the data points to very serious regain. And here's where the problem lies with that, is that we don't know what's going to happen to people when they've been on this for 10 years at all. I have a hard time believing that anything that causes such seriously harsh side effects at the very beginning that people then get used to, I have a hard time believing that being on those doses, especially for a long period of time, are going to be an issue. Now, I'm not saying that these new wave of products are not going to be better or safer, because there's retatrutide, I can't even pronounce names, and a few others. I'm not going to say that they're not going to be safer, but I can tell you this. Being on any medication long-term that is just designed to help you manage your lifestyle, I don't think that's a great idea. I really don't. If that's the main goal of it, I just don't. If you need to be on it because you're type 2 diabetic, you don't need to be a type 2 diabetic in most cases. You can reverse that shit too. So I wonder why there's a lot of type 2 diabetics that have been on it a long time that haven't reversed their type 2 diabetes. That's something I would ask myself. But also, the way most people are using this is very poor. Most people do not really change their lifestyle. They just eat less. They make themselves less hungry chemically. And that's not a great aspect, because then you take away the chemical and then they eat more.
Ultimately, I decided that it was not for me. Not to shame anybody who's using.
Also one thing. I did a video when Wegovy first came out, and it used to say on Wegovy's website to not use it if you have depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideation. They took that off, even though there's lawsuits against them right now. They took it off because the FDA, said they did the FDA checked themselves, is what they said, and there wasn't really anything to show that was actually the case, that there was some sort of suicidal ideation or anything like that to it. I will point out though that just to be very clear, I will point out that the department that approves drugs for the FDA for humans is 75% funded by the pharmaceutical industry. So just because they took a black label list warning off for depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation, I'm not saying it doesn't cause it, especially when there's literally lawsuits right now against those companies for people having depression, suicidal ideation, and anxiety while on those drugs. I have known many clients that have been on those drugs and came off of them because their anxiety just got to the point where they could almost not function. So just keep that in mind.
Using a GLP-1, I know that it really helps people and it could be life-changing. I just feel if there was ever someone to get a negative effect from it, with my luck, it would be me. And I just do not want to risk gastroparesis. That sounds absolutely horrible to me. And I would try any other option before that. For me, personally, not shaming anybody.
You are doing fabulous. You don't need it. You are doing good. I'm impressed. You can see it in her arms. She's lost a lot of weight. Definitely see it. Like, she's starting to get a line in her face. This is progress. So if I was you, I would never think about it again, ever.
Else. Let that be clear. I just would rather turn over every other rock, every other option. Because at this point in my life, it's not like my weight was this life or death situation that I know a lot of other people.
No, it's not. She
were in. I wasn't having any adverse health side effects from my weight. Not saying that I wouldn't in the future if I kept it on. I'm just saying, like, at that moment I wasn't. I had a little bit of time to experiment, find stuff. So moving on to the second part of this question, what do you think helped you succeed this time? And I think basically it's just keto. I found what worked for me. Keto is like a GLP-1 in the sense that it helps you control appetite a lot, which really helped. It helped to not think about food all the time. It helped to not feel hungry all the time after I've just eaten. For whatever reason, my body responded really well to the keto diet. And that's just been my personal experience. Like, do not think for one second.
Most people that actually truly try keto experience very, very, very good results. They really try it. they experience really good results. I would argue that most people that hate keto, like that can't stand it, is because your lifestyle is either set up to the point where you have a hard time not taking in a lot of ultra processed foods, and or you're addicted to the ultra processed foods. Like that's why why not try it for 2 weeks? Just try it for 2 weeks. Get yourself into ketosis. Is it shitty at first? Probably for a lot of you, it's not going to be fun. You're going to get what they call the keto flu. Do you know what the keto flu is? It's detox. Like, just to be aware, like the keto flu is your body detoxing from the junk. It's insane that people call it a keto flu. It's not actually a keto flu. It is detoxing from all that other shit.
Second, that I'm trying to recruit you to this keto cult. I 100% think that it is not for everybody. The only generalization that I'd ever make about weight loss is that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. There's not one singular thing that's going to work for absolutely everybody.
Very good.
There's always situations that differ and make you have to be a little bit more creative in your efforts if that's your goal to lose weight or getting healthier, whatever else. Just for me, I did find something that is inherently...
1 second.
For whatever reason, it's easy because my body feels good on it. You know what I mean? Like if I was like really struggling and I felt bad, like it wouldn't work. And like I said, I'm mainly doing this for my mental health. Like the weight loss has been a benefit, of course, but how I've been feeling mentally has made it worth it. And
so when she's talking about that for keto, especially keto, when your brain runs on ketones, there's been a lot of data showing that it's way better for your mental health, way better for anxieties and depression. But also, you're not in a constant inflammatory state. And that is the biggest thing. Notice how she's not puffy, that sort of thing. You can tell that her body is used to going towards fat and instead of carbohydrates. And she's not eating a lot of ultra-inflammatory foods, which are ultra-processed foods. They're all very, very, very inflammatory. So I would argue that she is doing the right thing and that most of her audience would benefit from this. One more time. And I'm not like a keto person. I told you just a little bit ago, I eat potatoes almost every day and or rice almost every day now. Just because I'm years in, and I will say that there was a while there where I just pretty much, I was carnivore or a little bit of carnivore and veggies, so I was very much in ketosis, and I stayed there for a long time just to make sure that my body could shake off, the addiction I had to like the ultra processed shit. Because no matter what, like I don't even take in, I very rarely even take in protein powder anymore. So the most processed shit I'll take in is rice cakes, which is normally just rice. I try to get the best peanut butter without sugar, those sorts of things, because very honestly, I don't want that shit in my body. I want to make sure I stay as healthy as humanly possible,
Some people were concerned about like the sustainability of this diet, saying it's not sustainable if it's not something you can stay on forever. I would agree in the sense.
Why this is an argument I hear all the time. Why would eating whole foods, especially staying away from, things like rice and potato, why would that not be sustainable? I have yet to have anybody answer that. Like, you can choose to not eat that shit. There's not really, this isn't sustainable because of what? Because you need to eat food-like products. They're not even food. You don't need to. You want to. Like, you don't need to. You want to. Like, you could live on ground beef, rice, and beans happily for the rest of your fucking life. And I just don't understand why it's not like seen like that way. When people say that, like, well, is it sustainable? Yeah, the fuck it's sustainable. How the fuck do you think people survived before ultra processed foods? Before ultra processed foods, this is what people ate. It's absolutely sustainable. When people say it's not, it is just a bold-faced fucking lie.
That it is a strict diet. I've said that over and over again, but I'd also say what even is sustainable? Genuinely, I'm asking because I have never been that person that's ever done anything sustainable. I crave novelty. For me and my personality, nothing's going to be sustainable for me. My entire life, in every aspect of it, I've never been the one thing. I go through phases. Like I have new interests every single month. I'll have a favorite food that I eat over and over and over again, ad nauseum, and then completely drop it and forget about it for months. So I guess I just don't really know what sustainability even looks like for me. I think that in areas where it really matters, like financially, taking care of animals, those sorts of things, I can sustain a certain habit. But when it comes to things that are more open, I definitely do not. There's never just been this through line of things that I've consistently done. Like workouts, I'll get bored of. I need to switch that up. Food, same thing. And I guess I just don't really know what that means to have a sustainable diet. I guess my official response would be keto is as sustainable as you want it to be. Like someone with
as is any way you eat. It's as sustainable as you want it to be, as is with anything.
Like a gluten allergy. A gluten-free diet, to someone else's point of view, would not look sustainable. But like, if that person wants to not have a celiac flare-up, they better adhere to it, so it's sustainable for them. So yeah.
Yep.
Last little bit, some of you were asking about.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, people act like it's not sustainable, but if your diet is what's fucking killing you, like if the way you eat is making you gain weight, become type 2 diabetic and shit like that, you're basically saying, like, if you can't eat in a fashion that's going to reverse your type 2 diabetes because it's not sustainable, you're saying your life is not sustainable because you are going to die younger. Like, if staying type 2 diabetic, you are not going to live a long time. You're not going to be 30 years in injecting yourself with insulin. I can guarantee you that shit. And I would be terrified with the climate of the world right now about getting your fucking insulin. So again, this is one of the reasons why we wanted to build the app, is because we wanted to help people get as healthy as possible, because a healthy lifestyle is absolutely sustainable. Just get daily activity, hydration, focus on your sleep, focus on your stress relief, try to control your cravings. And if not control them, learn from them so you can try to diminish them. Like, try to avoid ultra-processed foods as much as possible. Again, we've had people reduce their ultra-processing percentage that are just testing the app out for us for like 25, 30%. They've removed 25 to 30% of the ultra-processed foods that they've already been taking in. They go from 40% down to like 10%. And it's healthy. It is an absolutely sustainable diet. I don't know why people say that shit. Like, well, that's not sustainable. What the fuck you're doing? Like, you're 300 pounds. You think that's sustainable? Which is more sustainable? Just like she said, if somebody has celiac, all of a sudden not eating gluten becomes very fucking sustainable. If somebody's allergic to peanuts, that becomes very fucking sustainable, right? So, and arguably, if you have type 2 diabetes, you shouldn't be eating sugar, because it's not sustainable for you to eat sugar, because you've damaged your body to the point where it doesn't accept sugar. The only reason why it is sustainable is because you're on a medication that helps level your blood sugar out by introducing more insulin. And that is not good for you either. All the time. High insulin levels, insulinemia, has been shown to be very, very closely attached with Alzheimer's, cardiac disease, so many things. So if you think it's not sustainable, like if you have tried things and you feel it's not sustainable, I would argue that you could, find what is sustainable for you, just like Beatrice did. She should be super fucking proud of herself. But you can find what's sustainable for you. And if you have a hard time finding that, if you have a hard time figuring that out, you can join us right here. I just shared the coaching links. Please do check us out for that, because we will happily help you develop a happy, healthy, hunger-free lifestyle. Let's finish up, listen to what she's got to say, and then we'll take some Q&A.
Recipe lists, or making recipe cards, or even publishing a cookbook. Girl, I don't know how to publish a cookbook. Don't expect that anytime soon, but I am planning on making more shorts that are just like recipes, and like making a playlist so you can find all of that really easily. I also do want to start making recipe cards again, just because I want to start making art in general a lot more again, just something to feed my soul. But like I said, my interests every month, they be changing. Right now I'm heavily into gardening and landscaping. But anyways, I guess that's enough talking. I just want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day.
Please, everybody, go rewatch her entire video. I don't want to pull away from it, because I think that's a very, very, very good video. And one more time to Beatrice, I think you should be very proud of yourself and what you've accomplished. I really do. I'll take some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, I will gladly hear from you. Let's see. Alan, would love if you react to what dying from obesity feels like by Mr. Death. I will write that fuck down right now. Actually, I'll do this. Take a picture of the screen. Bang. Okay. I will absolutely take a look at that. That's a great idea. Thank you. Let's see here. Certain SSRIs do not help what they are claiming to be helped with, neither. Well, it's been, I think it was the Cochrane report, something like that, where it basically states that anything below, even if you have just like mild or mid depression, SSRIs are no greater than placebo. And they know this, they just still keep putting it in. I did keto with tirzepatide the last time. I have been on keto rather successfully, but had a health issue. I couldn't get into ketosis the last time I tried. It was strange. That does suck. I hope you're good now. Whenever I eat clean again after eating poorly for a bit, I have withdrawals and get the flu. Yes, it is not the keto flu. It is absolutely not. That's one of the things I wish people can understand. It is not the keto flu. It is you withdrawing from ultra processed foods. Lost 30 pounds just by walking and eating steak and eggs. Good for you. Fuck yeah. That is excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm a type 2 diabetic and ain't want to test every day. Why would you want to if you someone that doesn't have it? By the way, Delia, we got you. We got you. I reversed mine. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. And vegan keto is a lot of tofu. A lot of tofu. I've lost around 25 kilograms and I'm finally below 100. Just wanted to say that you guys literally saved my life. I still have some difficulties. Anna, great for you. Fucking great. Great job. All right, folks. I am going to be off for the day. I'm going to be back at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to go over the AI takeover healthcare because it's scary as fuck. Hope all of you have a great day. My name is Alan Roberts. God damn.